Okay, last couple of years we've had a lot of roof questions. So a lot of this is pretty simple. If you know what if you understand how a house is put together and how the roofs work. Let's talk about two structures of roof. Well, let's talk about two types of roof. Right? You basically have flat, and you basically have pitched. Pitched and flat. Very simple, right? If I'm looking at my house, this is my house, and it's flat roof. There's going to be parapets on the outside. There's going to be scuppers where the water come out. There's crickets in here. I'll show you what a flat roof truss looks like. It would look like this. So when we say flat roof, we don't mean flat. Now, if it was built, some commercial properties built before 75 could be flat. And if they're flat, they're going to have drains. They'll have roof drains, and the water will turn into the roof drains. So if I was looking at a flat roof, and I'm looking down on it, this would be, you see these little scuppers? These are called crickets. So basically what we're doing is we're building up the roof so that when water comes down, it hits the cricket and goes out the scupper. Now, if you're looking at the house, let's say it's in a Sawsey design, you're going to see the scupper. Maybe there's a stucco pop-out that's a metal scupper. So back in here is a cricket that you don't see that's pushing all the water out the scupper. Okay? Pretty simple concept. Something you see in all flat roofs. You have to have the scuppers to get rid of it. Sometimes you'll have downspouts, but it's usually just flash metal or metal with flashing on it to get the water away from off the roof. Okay, so how is that truss put together? Very simple. This actually is pitched like that. So then you have your webbing, and we'll talk about trusses next. So you see there's actually a pitch to this, right? Water comes down, there's going to be a ridge, and you're going to build one out the other way. Parapet on this side. That's what a flat roof truss looks like. They're not technically flat. Water comes down, goes out each side. Now, against the corners, you have what we call the crickets, and all that is just rolled roofing built up. Sometimes they put plywood, whatever is easiest. And then you're going to have your scupper, which actually penetrates through on both sides. Right? So water comes down, comes out the scupper, and off the roof. Very, very simple. Now, a couple different types of flat roofs are your torch down. This basically looks like a bunch of asphalt, large shingles. And they're all torched down, sealed down with a torch, by heat. So if I'm up here and I'm looking at the roof, you're going to see it's going to look like sod beds everywhere. Right? You have all these pieces of material, and they're all torched down and they're sealed. Oldest way of doing it, not the most reliable. These roofs always going to leak. You have way too many seams. Eventually something's going to leak. If you look down and it's all a reflective color, white usually is the most common, or a light silver or a gray, it's going to be a foam roof. Okay, those are the best. Basically all they do is they come in and they put foam over here, and they put a coating on it, and it's an Everlast coating that basically it's a membrane. It's hard to explain, but it's all one piece, right? So when they pour it down, it's continuous all the way. It's one piece. There's no seams. And that would be a foam roof. So you see a lot more foam roofs. People are putting in foam roofs. People are advertising that they do foam roofs. Foam roofs are the way to go just because there's no seals or seams. The torch down are a bunch of basically asphalt giant shingles that you just kind of torch down together. Obviously they're going to leak. So this is what a flat roof structure looks like when we're talking about a truss structure. So then we're going to go over the pitch roof. Okay, go back to my floor plan again. Okay. Let's say I have a gable on this side, and we have a hip on this side. Okay, so really quick, if I'm looking at the house, my gable is going to look like this. My window, And this is all stucco, right? There's only tile on the top, tile on that side. And this will be all stucco. That's a gable end. A hip end is going to look like this. There's my window. Same concept, but this is all tile, okay? The only difference is gables are very cheap, hips are very structurally expensive, but they look better because of the tile. You'll see mix of gables and hips. Sometimes you'll see all hips, sometimes you see all gables. If I was looking down on this house, and I was looking at the roof, my gable would look like this. Let's say I'm doing a gable coming this way. So if I look at the house from this side, this is a gable going up, coming down, and then I have a gable here. That's what that would look like if you're from the side. I know that's terrible, but you get the idea. This would have a valley, and this is if you do inspections and you have problems, the problems are going to be in the valley. So valley is basically this roof is coming down this way, this roof is coming down this way, and this is where they meet. Right? So if I was to draw this drawing, there's your valley right there. So all your debris, your birds, your leaves, all get trapped in the valley. Outside the valley, there's a little metal flashing that comes off that's supposed to help drain them. But if you have roof problems, it's going to be the valley. I can almost guarantee it because everything debris gets caught in there all the time. A hip, much the same way. This is all tile, but again, you're going to come back and you're going to have a valley there as well. So I promise you, if you have, the inspectors check the valleys all the time. And anytime you have problems, they're going to be in the valleys. Very simple. Trusses are pre-manufactured, so a pitched roof truss would look like this. Your bottom cord, your top cord, okay? And then your webbing. Sometimes you'll see inspectors that say, hey, there was a piece of webbing and it was cut. Okay, so don't freak out. That isn't hard to fix. Let's say we have a cut truss webbing cord. All you do is come in and put another piece of wood on either side. Just tie it together and make it one. Very simple. But you do see that in older homes. Now, anything before, let's say 76, 77, you're going to have what they call conventional roof, or conventional framing. Okay? Conventional framing means there's no rules. It means basically, when you're dealing with a truss structure, you always know a truss is going to start here and end here, right? Truss is going to go up and come down. Truss is going to go up and come down. Go up and come down. Very simple, right? Conventional is when you're out in the field and you figure, okay, I'm going to run, I don't know, this 2x6 is going to run to here, this one's going to run to there, this one's going to run to here, this one's going to run to there, and then I got to frame it all together as I finish, right? So I put some block in, I run another 2x6 there. Conventional framing is a nightmare because you have no idea what you're dealing with. So any houses built probably before 75 are probably conventionally framed. So your client says, hey, can I knock out this wall built before 75? You don't know. Only way you know is you get in the attic and you can look, and even the look is tough. Even I have a hard time figuring out what's bearing and non-bearing in a conventionally framed house. Simple in trusses. If your exterior wall is there and the other one's here, this wall here to be non-bearing, it's an interior wall, yes, you can knock those out. Obviously, you want to be very careful before you make those predictions, but it's pretty evident on the inside of the home, especially most of the tract homes in Arizona. All the bearing points are on the outside. Okay, so as long as you're not dealing with conventionally framed houses, it's pretty easy to figure out where your bearing points are, if that's an issue. We had a great question a couple weeks ago. Block wall. So far, everything we've talked about has been conventionally framed. So this is a block wall. Exterior wall. Okay, so that's our exterior wall. 8-inch block. When we say 8-inch block, we're talking height. And they're usually 16 in length. Inches, that's one cinder block, right? You see them all the time, the same ones they build the property line walls with, the fences. Okay. Again, depending on when it was built, what the code was at the time, you know that these have cells in them, basically holes, right? The average cinder block has two holes in them. I should probably do it this way. Okay, so there's your block. It's got 2 holes in it. The concept is, no matter where the other block is, these holes line up. Okay, so what you would do is, it's about 4 feet, 48 inches on center. You would run a rebar down into the footing, or into the floor, and up to the plate on top. You'd put a piece of wood here. It's called your top plate. That's how you build your roof. But every 4 feet, you're going to have these dowels, they call them, that come through this wall. So let's say this is 4 feet, this is 4 feet. You guys get the idea. I want to build a window. I want to build a big window right there, right? And it's getting hard to see. If you're going through 4 feet, you're going to hit dowels. There's no way you're putting a window in that wall, because you would have to cut the block, cut the dowels out, pull them through, pull all the concrete out of the cells. It would never be worth it. Right? Yes, you could probably pull that off, but you need to find out where these are. And these are really easy to find. Obviously, it's better if you have a trained professional do it. When they get up on the roof, they can actually see where these dowels are coming through at the top plates inside the attic. And then they can measure them 4 feet on center, and they can figure out where that window could go if you want to put it in. So it's easy to do if it's small. If it's a large window, forget about it, it can happen. Okay? That's the difference between frame and wood. Framing has become more popular, not because it's better for insulation or it's better construction, because it's cheaper. Everything in Arizona becomes popular because it's cheaper, not because of anything else. So builders drive the business, the builders use what's cheap, thus you get a lot more wood framing than you did back in the 70s. Keep in mind, you see a lot of these insulated walls, panels, they talk about how great the energy savings are on them. Great if you were going to live in the house a long time. It's really a tough sell. A buyer really doesn't care. It's not something that gets them excited or they really are interested in. So there's really the expense of building with OmniBlock or any of these other poured in concrete blocks or panels with plywood on either side. It's just the value's just not there for the average homeowner. So if you're dealing with somebody and they're thinking about doing something like that, make them do the research and remind them on the resale it's worthless. So keep that in mind.